Guys, welcome back. Bushcraft family back again with another video. And today we are going to talk about water. I turned the water sound off so everybody didn't have to go take a leak while watching my video. So you're welcome. Aside from oxygen, water is typically more important than any survival situation. Some may say a shelter is the first thing that you should do, all that mumbo jumbo thing. But you have 3 days that you can survive without water. And the last 2 days, or the last day, is probably the hardest. Just because of the deterioration of your health will go quickly. Now I'm going to go over different terms and different ways of the do's and don'ts of storing water and information about water. First of all, it is important to understand what does and what water does not go bad or spoil. In a sort of way. Water, if it is stored correctly, doesn't go bad. It can go stale, but it doesn't go bad. The only reason water does go bad and get contaminated and whatnot is human error, or the container deteriorating over time, or something like that. If you had a container that would last a lifetime, then as long as there was nothing introduced to that water, the water would last forever. You could open it up and drink it right there. It probably wouldn't taste the greatest, but it would be safe to drink. And that being said, starting with clean water, how do you store clean water? There's many of ways. There's many of people talking about different ways to store water. One of the best ways that I store water, is I get the regular water jugs that you get for the office water machines, you know, where it keeps the water cool and stuff like that, or heats it up. I get those, and when I get done using it, I fill it up with water. And you can get lids from Amazon that will seal that. You pop them right on, and it seals that jug. And now that you've done that you've stored the water, there's different things you should know about the water that you store. Is it chlorinated water? Is it well water? Is there contaminants that might be in the water that may turn bad in a long period of time? Those are all concerns that you should do test on your water to find out. Now, if you're storing chlorinated water, you do not need to treat it with bleach or anything. That being said, there are also different things that is acceptable for city water. It is not, you know, the crystal clean water that comes out of the mountain or anything like that. They do add things to it, and some of those things over time may be bad for you. So this is always something good to know if you're storing water for a long period of time. There are filters. The good and the bad of the filters. Okay. A lot of people think if you filter water, it is, you know, healthy water and nothing wrong with it. As long as it goes through a filter, it's good. And this is one of the things I don't like about those life straws and those little bitty things that you drink out of, and it's supposed to be safe, safe, safe. Well, most filters will eliminate bacteria. Some settlements, things like that. But if there is a virus in the water, most filters will not take out those viruses. So you will be drinking those viruses. And that is why they always say to boil your water. Yes, if you're not sure, boil it. And it will kill any organisms in a certain frame. There are some things that would not be boiled away, like some radioactive stuff, but normally you wouldn't have to worry about any of that. Some people complain about boiled water taste a bit odd, it tastes icky and stuff like that. But if you are a prepper, you can prep some lemon juice, some dried lemons. A few drops of that will take away that odd taste. There are distilled water for distilling your water. There are methods to where you boil water and the condensation, you collect the condensation from that water, which is probably the best way of clean water. It takes away the viruses and all that stuff, and it will even get rid of salt and sediments. But unless you are well schooled into building your own distiller, it's quite hard for somebody to come up with to build their own distiller. So unless you can buy one or something like that, that's something that may not be in your ballpark. And that's when we come to the treating of water with chlorine. And that's when I was talking about the chlorinated water. If it's chlorinated, you don't have to use bleach or chlorine. And the chlorine that you do use, or the bleach, make sure it is unscented. Just plain old bleach, nothing else added to it, no other, potpourris or anything like that. You just want it that much. And all you do is mix 16 drops per gallon of water and let it set for 30 minutes. You may smell a light bleach odor, but should be fine after that. If you do not smell that bleach smell, then you may need to do another 16 drops and let it set for another 15 minutes. If that still is not producing a bleach smell, it's probably a good idea to discard that water, use it for gray water or something like that, and find another water source. Now, containers. Like I said, I use regular water containers for office machines, water machines, whatever you want to call them. There are 5-gallon and 55-gallon drums that you can get a hold of. You just got to make sure you have a way of pumping that water out of there, and you want to make sure that all these containers are food grade plastics. Probably the best thing, which is not sensible, is glass. Even stainless steel could possibly start breaking down eventually, but glass probably Probably wouldn't. The only thing is, glass is breakable. Another thing that you do not want to do, a lot of people will get their old milk jugs and use those for containers to store water in. Unfortunately, that is very bad because of milk will eventually goes bad. Even in the containers, it carries a virus that will contaminate your water. You can wash these things out left and right with bleach and everything else. They'll still show traces of that milk in there, or that the virus that is carried by that milk, and contaminate your water. There cannot be any traces of anything in your container, so you have to make sure they're extremely cleaned. Now, here's a good one. Question I get a lot of times is, how much water should I put back in store for an emergency? Well, if you go by, the CDC and all those, they say 3 days of water. Sometimes they have said 2 weeks of water. And how much is that? Well, one person for drinking and very, very little hygiene is 1 gallon of water. Now, that's for somebody sitting in a basement, not doing anything, waiting for help. So if you're doing work, or you're out in the sun, or anything strenuous, you're going to go through a lot more water than that. Most Americans go through hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water a day. So you have to plan for that and try to see how much water that you actually use a day, and then have a day to where you only try to use 1 gallon of water per person. See how well that goes. And that's cooking, cleaning up after yourself, and all those things. That doesn't count the gray water that you would use for flushing your toilet or anything like that. That's just water for yourself. A gallon of water seems like a lot, but when you get down to it, it's not. And that is one of the biggest concerns, because everybody thinks that they won't need that much water. They can survive on very little water. You would be surprised how much water you actually go through. And I suggest everybody to do this. Measure every little bit of water that you use at the end of the day, from boiling a potato to flushing a toilet, to taking a shower, brushing your teeth, to drinking water. That's all you drink for the day, is just water, and see how much water you drink. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for now. If you got any other questions, post them down below, and I'll be happy to answer as much as I can. If you're not a member on my Discord, I do have a lot of information on Discord, free for everybody to use. Until next time, God bless.